Hi folks, it's good to be with you. Love to everybody out there. My website's jasonburnspreacher.com, jasonburnspreacher.com, and also you can get me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just type in Jason Burns Preacher for Twitter and you'll find me. I just want to talk about the issue with Lizzie Schofield and James White. Lizzie Schofield has written an article. She's a Christian apologist who operates at Hyde Park. She's written an article critiquing James White's debate against Adan, a Muslim apologist, on the issue of the cross. And James White has made a video response, saying that Lizzie's more about arguing in a kind of shouting way and not in a nice way. So that's kind of the background. I'll link to the article, Lizzie's article. I'll link to Dr. James White's response to her. And I want to give my thoughts and my input because I feel that it might contribute to something more positive and helpful in this situation. Number one, I want to say that both of these people I respect highly, love them highly, so I'm not out to attack anyone's character, but I love them both. I admire them both. Lizzie is tenacious. She's got amazing courage, and I also have admired James White for many years, and respect you very highly. But I just feel I need to say one or two things. First of all, Dr. White, I think that you're kind of rounding on Lizzie was a bit unfair. I think that you are a very experienced debater and very experienced apologist, and it would have been better if you'd have contacted Lizzie and tried to take her under your wing and encourage her. I think that she did give some valid points, valid criticism, which I watched the debate just before I went to London a few days ago, and the same thoughts in my listening to the debate is the same that Lizzie stated. She stated, number one, the lack of vigour in the debate. It was a bit anemic. And I think that it's nice to be polite. You're well respected. In fact, I'll get onto that in a minute. It's wonderful that you're well respected by Muslims. But you need to be a bit stronger in the comeback and critique of your opponents. And because you do bend over backwards to be nice, your opponents take advantage of you. And I think that's an important point to make. The debates that you had with one or two South African apologists were quite aggressive towards you, and you should have called them out a lot more than you did for that. And so that's the first point. The second point is that some of these apologists that you debate, you're really nice with, like Adan, when they're at Hyde Park, they're very aggressive. So they're nice with you on the platform, but at Hyde Park, they're very aggressive. And you have to call them out on that, and you have to say that, your behaviour is not acceptable. But you don't do that. Instead, you're rounding on Lizzie and not on Adan. And Adan, I've met Adan, I've seen Adan, I've seen how he operates in Hyde Park, and he's very aggressive. So while you're on a platform being nicey with him, he's being at Hyde Park and he's being extremely aggressive with people. And not only him, but some of the other apologists that are in contact with you, Muslim apologists, are quite aggressive behind the scenes, but you're being nice to them and not calling them out on their aggressive tactics. And for example, Yaya Snow and Blogging Theology have been going for a while now, a witch hunt against Lizzie and against her team. And some of those guys, or at least one of those guys, no, I think two of those guys are in contact with you, always demeaning and putting down Lizzie and her team. But these guys are very aggressive themselves. They're very dishonest in the way they conduct themselves, and you don't call them out for that. So I think because you're in this nicey world of academic debates on university campuses, you don't see behind the scenes the kind of underhanded tactics that go on by some of these Muslim apologists who want to sideline Lizzie and her team. And I think you need to be aware of that, and I think you need to deal with it. Excuse me. The next thing is I want to say that Lizzie, Dr. White, has a good reputation with many Muslims. In Manchester, whenever I talk to Muslims, they always say how much they respect Dr. White, and I think you can learn something from that. Dr. White has an amiable way about the way he conducts himself, and I think we can all learn from that, and I think we can all take something from that. We need to do apologetics, but we don't want to be pushing people away. We need to win people. And so in our critique of Islam, we need to do it graciously. And I think you and I and others can learn from Dr. White from that. The other thing as well, Dr. White, I think you need to appreciate Lizzie's context. Lizzie's context is very difficult. It's very, very difficult for a woman to do apologetics at Hyde Park. The Muslims there, the Muslim apologists are extremely aggressive. They hunt in packs. There'll be 20 to 30 guys around Lizzie, and she has to deal she's had to deal, and Hatum as well has had to deal with a lot of sexism, a lot of aggression from Muslim apologists at Hyde Park. So it's not easy for her, it's not easy for Hatum or the team down there, what they're trying to do. So you need to appreciate that context as well. And you need to give her some slack, and Hatum and others of their team, because they get a lot of aggression, and they get a lot of verbal abuse from Muslim apologists who are not being honest. That's the other thing. There's a double standard at Hyde Park. When they critique the Bible, they're okay, but when it comes to them being critiqued, the Muslims being critiqued, they get aggressive. The Muslim apologists get aggressive. So it's very difficult to get your point across in that kind of environment. That's Adan, Paul Williams, Hamza. All these are Muslim apologists. They're all very aggressive when you start to critique Islam. So it's very difficult for Lizzie and Hatum and the others to conduct themselves in that aggressive environment. So I hope that we can all learn something from this. I would encourage us to read the book of Philippians, and encourage us to read the life of Paul, and just to meditate about how all of us conduct ourselves. I've made many mistakes over the years. I've been aggressive with atheists many years ago. I wasn't in a good place. I wasn't well at the time. And so I've made many mistakes. So I'm not the one to give any great lessons. But it just upsets me when two Christians who I admire and respect can't appreciate each other and learn from each other. And I do think that Lizzie made some good points in that article, and I think you should meditate on it, Dr. White. I do think, Lizzie, that you can learn from Dr. White in his approach as well. All right, take care and God bless you.